Good afternoon and welcome back to Leuven here at Elite Invite, the EUCF sanctioned tournament. 8 of the best from last season in all 3 divisions, open, women's, and mixed. This is the first we see of the mixed round. I'm Stefan Rapazzo, joined by the deep well of knowledge himself, Mr. Benjamin Reese. Benji, how are we doing this morning? And tell us a little bit about this game in front of us.
I'm psyched. I love Elite Invite. The concept, the execution, it's just brilliant. 8 of the continent's best going hammer and tongs game after game after game. There's that kind of cliche, iron sharpens iron, right? Which I don't know if that's actually how it works, but you know, you test yourself against the best competition, and yes, if you needed an extra little carrot dangled in front of you at the end of it, the winner, of course, gets a wild card and qualifies for EUCF. As we mentioned, first mixed division action of the weekend here. These sides in Pool B, Reading and Nullacht. They are alongside Lemmings and Manchot, who are on the pitch behind us. That's on one of the that's the Ulti TV single camera stream. Dimi Doroshenko is dialing in remotely for the call for that one. Pool A, by the way, has also has 2 games going on because all divisions play their games at the same time, and that has Tartu Turbulence versus Deep Space on the VO cam with Merit Trap on comms. And Seskidiscus versus Disconnection is also VO stream, but no comms on that one. So you can watch all of that here. Make sure you get your season pass so you can watch as much Ultimate as possible. And Nullacht are going to begin the game on offense. Marius Hutchinson, the big lefty, pulls, and we're in play.
Comprehensive as always, Benji behind the disc. Vedden gets the first throw, but it does not go. A immediate turnover and a short field for Reading right out the gates. Hutchinson follows up his pole with the first throw from the inbound.
That's a very ominous start for Nullacht.
Ooh, but they do get the run from behind. They do bail themselves out. Waden makes up for his own error and gets the defense poaching away.
Just good heads-up play there. You're always worried as well when someone goes up line and a player comes through from the blind side, but did a good job of avoiding as much contact as possible.
Schreiber goes to center, and Nullacht now get their offense moving. Schreiber again. The gentleman on the Nullacht side doing a lot of the lifting early on here, Schult. Schulte goes back in the middle. Schenk throws high, and that one is smacked away. Benj. Kemp gets a hand on it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he needed to because I think the sideline was right there, but in that situation as Kemp, there's no point taking the risk because you're not sacrificing field position for it either because it just went straight out of the side horizontally, and Nullacht just struggling a little bit to get themselves set.
So Reading with their second opportunity. Andy Lewis from his own corner, Colicchio. Leading throw. There's a fine for Hagen, and inside back to Colicchio. Andy Lewis. He's got exceptional speed, does Lewis. And
it's not just speed from Lewis, it's acceleration as well. He's got a really explosive first step.
Little rest, hands on the hip there for Mr. Andy Lewis. Schenk on that mark. First point here, a couple turns in. This would be a break if Reading can find that end zone. Hutchinson, the expansive thrower, goes back to Lewis. Sights the end zone. Defense was coming there, but they do get it to Lou on the doorstep now. Hagen. Spins, nothing in front, goes the hammer, Colicchio, and he fights it away from his own teammate. In fact, there's Kemp also could have had it, but either way, break on the board, 1-0 Reading.
As long as it sticks, Reading won't quite mind who got the reception, although maybe you could have a little bit better communication to prevent something untoward happening there. Hagen, still count rising, says, actually, especially when you're in the red zone, space is compressed, hitting that break slide nice and quickly with the over the top is not a bad option. And Colicchio catches, and just a cheeky little show of the disc there to his teammate Colicchio. He's a big dude, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, I know this might be understating it somewhat, but I kind of had forgotten just that kind of frame he's got in person. The American who's back across the pond in the UK this season for Reading.
Yeah, last time across the pond, of course, he was doing it on the open division, playing for Clapham. Did some seasons.
Heard of them. Yeah.
Pardon me?
I've heard of them.
Yeah, the Bullfrogs, Benji. Just to be clear, but you did say you have heard of them, so I won't elaborate any further. But yeah, did it with Clapham, of course, has done it on the US side, has been in the commentary booth a little bit as well. And I believe we'll maybe hear his sounds over the course of this year at a tournament that those Bullfrogs might host.
Curious.
So Schenk and Nullacht try to open up the scoring. Their second try, Waden goes to Kintrup, and then backfield for Hermeking of the famous Hermeking family. Schenk. Up liner, that sticks. Graffer. And then next throw. Ooh, made to work, but the catch-up speed's fine. Schenk is there. Back central. In front now. Leading throw in a bit of traffic, but they find just enough space, Benji. I thought it was the 72 shirt, but I think I'm off.
I think it's 75. Anna Camfert with the score. Just, you could see the thought of maybe the poach just flashing in there potentially from Nedic, but stayed firm, stayed true, able to secure the catch, and that is going to put Nullacht on the board after surrendering that break on the first point. It's always nice to get that first point underway, especially at a tournament like this where, no disrespect to Nullacht, but they've not been at the Elite Invite before. For Reading, this is old hat for them almost, but they're established. But Nullacht, they've proven that they deserve to be here, of course, because you don't qualify for the Elite Invite by accident. You have to be the best of the best to earn your place at this tournament.
It's not the mediocre invite.
Exactly, Steph. You're so right. And yeah, just getting that first point on the board, you can take a breath, feel like, okay, now we're into it, now we're here, let's go. But it can sometimes just take a little bit of time to settle down. Somewhat understandably, to be honest.
Nerves settled. First hold for Nullacht, now put in. Down a break, but lots of game is an understatement as that pole goes out of bounds. Brick is available, and Andy Lewis does signal that by putting the right arm in the air.
Yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't in this position. Looking like a 1-6 setup, so no handler back to start this alongside Lewis.
So first cut, if not available, will likely continue. Let's see how we go here. Lewis looked twice for the break side, strong mark, and then goes across and gets Liu. Liu forward, Lester, and put deep quickly. Great throw, Graham Kemp under it. And an easy-looking score using the right side of the field, far sideline. Reading up 2-1.
First time your O-line takes the field. A couple of passes, bang in, job done. Get the D-line back out there. What more could you ask for?
Not too much more, Benji. That was seamless offense. You have another look at the Kemp score there, but you know, you ask what more, like do it quick. Well, I mean, you can't even do it much quicker. They really did everything that they could to favor their D-line to get them back on the field. We all know a D-line will dictate the game. The longer you can keep them on the field, the better you're looking in that game.
Yeah, offense. We talk a lot about efficiency, and you want your offense to be out there as little as possible, ideally. If you play O-line, your ideal game is you'll take the field once, twice maybe, and then the D-line just gets on a roll and does the rest. Maybe you play a couple of D points because you're on such a roll, but it's one of those weird situations where if you don't do too much in a game, actually, you're like, this is fine. We like it. Although, I'm sure if you ask all these players, they'd want to play as much as possible because you back yourself and you enjoy the game.
And here come Nullacht again. Waden. Gets to the far side, Camford. Ooh, nice sticky fingers there by Harmaking. And goes into the middle for Schulte. He goes deep, shot for goal, and a bit too far though, Benji. A turnover afforded to Reading.
Really zipped the throw and could have just done with maybe a little bit more finesse, taking a touch off that one. Was hoping that the angle would curl it back into her path, but wasn't to be, and Reading with another early break chance.
From their own end. First throw is a goer on the up line. And Wilson converts a few throws and then through Nedic. Greer sights the goal and gets the goal he sighted. Sam Wilson rises to the occasion and takes it up where the Owls sleep.
Clean break, that one for Reading as well. Worked the full length of the central zone as if it was nobody's business. And Greer just sitting that one out there, and Sam Wilson, who's just gone from strength to strength in the past couple of years, played GB mixed last season as well. I'd have to double check, but I think he's on the list for Australia this year as well. And to him, a catch like that is nothing. And I was going to say we saw his brother in the last game, Ben, for Chevron, but we didn't because his brother's picked up an ankle injury. But both Sam and Ben Wilson, phenomenal players in their own right.
So at 3-1, Reading showing some form out of the gates. And send another pull down to Nullacht. I did get a chat with Andy Lewis before the game, and we'll talk a little bit more about what he had noticed in Nullacht's game. But for now, Nullacht trying to get going. Ostertag centralizes. Wind up and delivered from Nick Schultz. And what a throw on the money, but not in. Yes, in. Debus there for the goal. Nice way to crack back on the board after falling behind early, but big bang and backhand bench.
It's great if you can get the deep game firing early. We've talked about it so often over the years, over the various tournaments, because as soon as that deep threat starts connecting on a consistent basis, it really changes the dimension of the field. Everything spreads, expands, you get more room to work with underneath in the intermediate space. That time the jump in there from the 13, Michael Debus, and it just makes playing offense so much easier. Not just on that point, because obviously if you can score in one pass, why wouldn't you? But just going forward, it just really gets everything moving in a more synergetic way. And who doesn't love banging it deep for scores? Like, it gets your confidence, it gets your blood flowing, the adrenaline up as well. It's enjoyable, it's fun, it's what you want.
So Nullacht send the pull. Hoagie send it. Well, at least that's what his podcast is called, but he's centered it.
I don't think the Centered It podcast has quite the same ring to it.
Hoagie is under it, and he gives a... I swear Hoagie gave that bump and then put his hands up saying, hey, what's with the contact? We'll see it again. Did you see it the same way I do there, Bench?
He certainly tries to shrug him off, but I think his argument is that I'm going towards that space and you cut me off without actually making a play for the disc yourself. You've blocked my path in a way where I couldn't avoid you.
Here's one more look. I thought it was fair bodying out there. My 2 cents on that one to weigh in. Voigt, I thought, was simply in front holding, and the turnover will stand. It
will indeed. Call retracted, and a chance for Nullacht to get one of their 2 breaks back. But it's going to be a slightly protracted walk to the disc because the player picking it up is probably the furthest player away.
But we will get there, and we are indeed there now.
It's like Nick Schultz will bring us in.
Schultz gets the gainer. Falke goes back, and now foot on the end zone line. Now a little bit of breathing room. Wu throws just in front, but does keep it to Rucker. And now centralized. Schultz. Upline throw collected. Riemann. Falke. Working that far sideline right now. Looking for an option in the dump space. Nothing that was liked, and now squeezes it into a tight space for Schultz.
I'm not sure tight quite covers it, but they got it done.
Heath goes wide. Schultz gave a good bit of width there to run into, and now Schultz with the inside throw. Nice look to finish things off. Benj, the goal there for Riemann.
I think Riemann just ran Hagen a little bit ragged there in the end, and that's no mean feat because Hagen's got energy and dynamism for days, but the consistent grind, I think, there from Nullacht, it wasn't easy for them, but they kept plugging away, kept churning it out, and eventually got their just rewards. The real creator there was that floated flick over the top towards this near side that gave them this soft spot of the field that they could access a little bit more. And with the cutter coming all the way over from the far side of the field, it's so much work for Hagen to come across and cover while still closing off that angle. In the end, she wasn't able to do it, and Nullacht get their first break of the game. Still actually one break behind, although they're level on the scoreboard because they started on offense. But Nullacht, they're not going to roll over and have their tummies tickled.
Not today. They strike back and put their defense on the field, level things up.
We haven't had a chance to look at Reading this season. This is their first EUCS event, although a lot of these players were at Tom's tourney last weekend playing for Reading Open in Tom's Open Div 2, and they did all right. They just, went undefeated and won the whole thing.
Yeah, not so bad. The Avengers squad, Lewis puts the foot down to open up this possession.
They didn't get any notable additions, did they?
No.
From the mixed division?
Nobody I've ever noticed on World Games teams or anything like that. Bignall up the line, and the bid comes around and takes it away. Was the bid clean?
The thing is, it got the disc cleanly, but again, we talked about this earlier actually in this game, is when you come over from the blind side, the receiver, it's Jessie Liu, doesn't have a sight of that, and I'm not sure what she could really do there.
No, she was going to be taken out. It was a clean enough path to the disc, but then leaving your body in the way to get run into. I think it's a foul or qualifies as dangerous play.
I agree with that assessment, actually. I think any time you come from the blind side, you have to make sure that you're not going to cause a collision, because the player upline, they've got that vision is all the way, just like the field of vision is in front. You might just about see it in the peripheral, but Lou doesn't really have a chance to not do that there. Certainly, I think it's the player from Nullacht who's come across who's initiated the contact on that one.
They'll call it a contested foul and an injury to boot. So they will send in the substitutions.
Yeah, Lou looked a little bit shaken up, so hopefully she's okay, and it's just nothing that she won't be able to just settle herself and run off. Certainly she made her way to the sideline under her own power. I think she looks a little bit cheesed off, I'll say, about the contact and
the contest.
I can understand that. Certainly, if I were in that position, I think I would be less than impressed.
Yeah, cheesed is about as PC as we can be with that, I think, and I think I would have quite similar feelings.
I think Emily Powell is the player they've subbed on.
Back in the hands of Bignall.
They're just, I think, going to try to work out exactly where they were when the throw went up, because I can tell you that he was not in that position, because if he was, the play wouldn't have happened as it did. There we go. I imagine Bignell this time will look in field instead, and she does.
Colicchio gives the head nod, gets the cut. Toe drag works. Lewis meters away on the sideline. Lewis goes wide and expansive. That's going to work. Does he have enough room?
He's way out.
Way out of bounds. That is not going to work then. And Reading have given it back to Nullacht.
Missed opportunity there for Reading, and Nullacht now can bring us back on serve.
Yeah, the Lewis throw too much onto the space was definitely there if he could have just kept it in bounds.
But didn't get the right shape on the throw, not enough outside in to curl it back towards the field of play at the end.
I thought that deep shot was coming by Nullacht, but they reset to Schaefer. Now a big gainer, runs it past half with a bit of a milking. Pepperhove goes back and gets it again. Ooh, too high. Lewis takes it away.
I think if he hadn't, it would have hit the turf anyway, but if you can intercept, A, it means the defender can't catch it, and B, you can get the offense going quickly, but Nullacht were ready, and Veden, just with maybe a little bit too much impetus in stopping the roll, and just kicked it slightly back the other way.
Yeah, Colicchio corrects that, but what a great foot block there to break up that play from Hutchinson, and Nullacht with new life. Centering, Kruker leads forward to Brown. Beren sends and knocked away. Colicchio steps in front this time. And we've got a handful of turns.
There's a little bit of separation there, but the throw's not really zipped enough. Again, not enough of an angle to take it past the big man Colicchio.
Low catch there.
I think this might be a travel. I'm not sure Colicchio actually set his pivot correctly on bringing the disc in. I think he started to walk and then stopped and put it back in play, but if he started to walk, he does have to bring it all the way to the front.
Well assessed as per always, Benji.
I could be wrong, but I think that's what's gone on.
You've been wrong before?
No,
Oh,
but there's a first time for everything, as they say.
Okay, I'm not expecting that to come today, Benj.
No, I'm always wary, Steph. Always wary. No one can find any evidence of me being wrong.
And Reading upfield, Hutchinson finds the middle. Bignell to Lewis. Lewis, oh, and another huge block. Wow, getting in the way of everything, Pepperhove.
Fair play. Full commitment, sells out for the block on this flick, and if it didn't go, it would have been so easy for Lewis to race away downfield, but he read it correctly, and he gets his rewards.
Next throw, though, given straight back, Benj.
Pick downfield. I'm not sure whether this will stand. It was Powell who snatched that one away, got the initial tip and then followed it up nicely as well. I don't think this is going to stand. It's not. Just back with Nullacht.
Deep shot, rip. Pepperhove is there, and he gets his just rewards. 3 blocks in that sequence. One that had a foul call around it, but a big foot block and a big body hand block, all in the same point, Bench.
That is a banging bookends there for Pepperhove. Stretches it long down this near side. The throw sent all the way over the top, and there's a risk when you're throwing over traffic that if you don't get the height right, someone's just going to get a hand in the intermediary and slap it away. And Lewis gave it his shot, but he came close, and when you don't get it, it meant that Pepperhove has no one in coverage a simple catch, and he's going to chalk one up on the break slate. And yes, that is a slate that you see there. One of them's a roofer, and that's why they've been using that, and every time someone catches a break, they just notch it up.
Yep. And that is their first notch. I think we've got a timeout on the field. I didn't see the hand signal, but indeed they are circled up. We're going to take a short break here and be right back with more action from Reading versus Nullacht. Back in action, Nullacht leading 4-3 with 3 in a row, a hold and 2 breaks in sequence, and Reading have had just about enough, took a little break to talk about things, see if they can rectify. Lewis hangs under the pole. Hoagie has to gallop a little bit to adjust. Wilson comes under. Back to Connor Hogan. Thought about the stand to deliver, but goes the backhand break to Lewis.
Feels like the downfield players for Reading are set very far away, and yes, it gives them a lot of underneath space to work with. It means that those quick little resets off the front, you're still getting a lot of forward momentum, but sometimes you can leave the thrower quite isolated.
Lou.
Good to see her back out there.
Yep. Very much so. Goes inside. Colicchio. Now Hogan. Wilson chipping away at these meters with speed. Colicchio. Backhand over the top with a break. And nice throw, nice response. Leicester with that goal.
Yeah, Leicester's very impressive as an athlete. Just, again, first step quickness and power. Explosive, and Colicchio, just that elevator backhand. It's going to be so hard to stop when he releases it from such a height with that wingspan as well. Really calm, assured possession there for Reading. Even when they kind of got into higher stall counts and they were holding it for a little bit, never flustered, never worried, and near the end zone as well. Just happy to bounce it around the back a little bit while they got set, while they got ready, so they could clear that break side space for Leicester to score.
So all tied up, 4 apiece.
Yeah, but fun game. I was worried at the start maybe that Reading, if they pulled into the distance, wouldn't have liked to be able to close the gap. But fair play to the Germans. They got themselves back into this contest nice and early, and we very much have a game on our hands, Steph.
Don't we love that?
Yeah, I think we do love that.
It's almost what we're here for.
Curious.
I mean, we're going to call them like we see them no matter how they give them. But boy, oh boy, do we appreciate calling them when they get tight.
You just cracked open a beverage there, Steph. Oh, it's an iced tea.
Yeah, Benj, I'm just hydrating and staying refreshed.
I mean, it is
whatever would you assume?
It's a lovely day here in Leuven, and yes, I know we are in Belgium, but it's a little early for a beer.
Sent it, hang in, defense, and that is a simultaneous catch. Are they going to discuss it? I think it was pretty well simultaneous. I didn't see one before the other.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that is mighty, mighty close. It would have to go super slow-mo style, I think.
Slow it down a bit here. This is super slow-mo. Oh,
if anything, I think offense has it slightly fractionally beforehand.
Yeah.
But in the end, having the discussion, you know what? It might, if anyone got it first, it might be you. But anyway, at the best case, it's a tie anyway, and the tie stays with the offense, and that's Nullacht re-establishing a 1-point lead, 5-4.
Great game. Great aerial battle there for supremacy. Nullacht rising above. Just marginally. Love how few inches really do separate some of these contests, and as such, the game. What hangs in the balance of such small differences there. Hutchinson to Lou and back again. Ooh, the chase was coming from Pepperhoven. We know he'll go, but Caria with the disc.
Foul on the mark. Getting some input from the sideline there. Pepperhoven getting some instruction that, you know, even though he feels like he's within the rules, he's saying that no, he's moving into that space, and that is his foul. So
great spirit from the sideline. Love to see that. I think it was the right advice to come in and help that one get sorted out properly. So really love to see that from the sideline.
Yeah, fair play to Nullacht, because it's easy when you think, well, I know what the rule is, but it doesn't actually go my way, so I'll let them talk it out, rather than saying, actually, my friend, you're in the wrong.
You moved and touched him, and that constitutes a foul. As they take the upliner, Powell milks it for another, and the run through causes a collision, but Ruckert breaks up the play.
This is a problem caused by Reading spacing, because there are two players in that space at the front of the end zone, Lou and Hagen, but because there's two players, there's two defenders there as well, and they can't fight their way through all the traffic. Reading had worked that break side space so well up until that point.
Now, through the end zone, but through the hands as well, and unable to maintain possession. Behrens lets it go, and back and going are Reading. Straight in, Hutchinson finds Lester, and they're back on the board.
Yeah, that's a throw like that's not going to be a problem for Hutchinson. He is so calm and assured. He's got power with his throws, but he's got touch as well, and he just sits this one out here for Leicester, who creates the separation, and there's naught the defender can do about that one. Reading having their turn back quickly, and Julie punching it in as he would expect for a team of their quality.
Of course, Reading, defending champions of the Elite Invite.
They are indeed.
Won it last year, a great final match against Grut. They took it away. Am I wrong?
They beat Disconnection in the final.
Oh, you're right. They beat Grut in the semi. Or did Disconnect? No.
They did beat Grut in the semi,
yes,
and Disconnection triumph 5 on Universe, 15-14 over Deep Space. Of course, would eventually go on to become European champions, and Deep Space were Hannah Yorworth losing her footing in the end zone away from it, making it an all-UK final.
Hits and rolls. Nice pull. Very nice pull, that roller. Defense totally engaged on the pickup, and pickup only about a meter or two outside of the end zone. Arcs one over.
I'd have liked to see the other edge on that throw because it was actually leading him towards the sideline, and it's tricky to catch a disc that's falling away from you, but they made it work.
Schreiber gets the upline chunk.
That front line of the Reading defence is very loose, and it's allowing space for those crashes from behind, but it's also not putting enough pressure on those wide swings over the top.
Schulte goes over the top and down to the far sideline. And the Reading zone, so far, efficient in slowing down Nullacht.
Yeah, at the very least, giving Nullacht a different problem to try and solve and counter. Always a good option, I think, as well. Change the rhythm of the game, too.
Schulte.
The thing you don't want as a defender is to have the other offense get a level of comfort and ease. You want to just force the extra split second of thinking time, the extra hesitation that is often all the window you need to create that block, that opportunity.
Nullacht find Hermike. Back to Schulte. And working it around Schreiber. He goes the offhand to Schulte. And Schenk pushes forward. Kintrup gets expansive, back to middle with the arcing backhand, and Schenk again with a touch.
Those aerials are really proving fruitful.
And the back step into the end zone makes it count for a goal. Schaefer is there, and Nullacht do it again.
I like the idea from Reading, force a change of system, a change of pattern there from Nullacht, but when there's not much wind, the zone wasn't particularly aggressive in forcing tight windows, and it's just a little hop backwards there from Milena Kintrup in the end, just to get them over the goal line for the score. Like the idea, didn't quite come off in practice, and it looks like we've got another timeout.
Well, if they're going to take a break, we're going to go ahead and take a break too. We'll make sure you sit tight, stay locked in. We'll be back with more action after this. Five Nullacht still up on Reading. First round of mixed action here at Elite Invite. I'm Stefan Rapazzo alongside Benji Reese.
Hello, Steph.
Hey, Benj. Thanks for tuning in. EUCS series here, and us here at Ulti TV happy to bring you this action.
We've just had our photos snapped.
Some lucky photography is getting the good stuff.
Yeah, Ben Zwartz, who's playing with Gentle for the EUCS this year.
Remember that double layout him and Ollie Gordon had in the EUC final?
Yes.
That was Zwartz got the better of that one there. But it was a heck of a play in the early portions of that game. Hutchinson sends deep, lefty flick, fires out of the hip. Lewis, the intended receiver, and reads it like a book. And cashes in a score after the timeout. Nice by Reading.
It's not a dominating Sky, the sort of two players going up big and one posterizing the other over the top. It's Lewis just holding his position there, using that outside arm to just kind of steady himself, keep himself firm. The disc spirals over the defender's head, and then he can just pinch it down. That's good positional play. yes, it's not as cool or as fun as going up massively, but often it's a lot more efficient. And Lewis hasn't necessarily been his most impactful in this game, but if Reading can get him going, that'll be huge for them. A Reading side that is not at full strength today. Haven't seen Hannah Brew here, so I wonder if she's going to come in for the weekend. Haven't seen Fee Ray or Imi Wong either, so
I have confirmation that if they are still on the roster, they will be here for the rest of the weekend. I went and had a chat before the game, and there were a few on the roster that were unavailable all weekend, and we're not looking at those names, but they have a handful that are arriving for tomorrow.
Yeah, it makes sense, because obviously it's nice to have 3 days. It means you can, you're not stretching anyone too hard for any particular day of the week, and you're ensuring, I think, the quality, the level of play by not going bang, 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 bang all the way through. So by the time you get to the last game of the day, everyone's knackered because you're fighting it out against the best of the best. But it does mean that, yes, you start on a Friday, and people can't always necessarily get the time off work or get out of other commitments.
Nullacht get a nice gainer to open the sequence. Waden goes straight back. Schreiber. Take high, that needs a second effort. Schenk. Looked up line, but it was covered. Looked the hammer, then takes the second up line option. Kintrup. And Kintrup, last goal. She scored this one. Throws the assist to Graffa.
She does, but I'm not quite sure that was what she intended. It looked like it came out at slightly the wrong angle. Maybe she held on to it for a little bit longer than she wanted. But it's just good heads-up awareness there from Luisa Greffa, knowing that the throw might come. There's a space there available to take, and when it did, she was ready, accelerated to it all the way through it. And 7-6, Nullacht to lead. And I wonder if this is timeout or whether this is actually the timed half.
That may well be, Benji.
Because
43 minutes into this.
40 minutes. Yeah. I'll tell you what. We'll double check with the volunteer scorekeepers.
Was that a timed halftime? Timed halftime?
Turns out it was indeed the half-time cap at 40 minutes. You finish that point and then add one and you get a half-time score cap, so to speak. So it is half-time on serve here. Nullacht up 7-6, and turns out that was a Galaxy point. So we gave you it for free without even knowing. Aren't we good to you?
So much love.
Come on, break!
Back again after that wonderful ad for Tokai. Love those boots, love that brand.
Are they doing anything big this summer? They're going to make any appearances at tournaments?
Oh, now that you ask, I have noticed that they have entered a team at Windmill. Tokai Super Team, Benji.
Interesting. Is there... Well, actually, I had a look at the roster, and I saw that there was only one person listed as coach and admin. Certain Stefan Rapazzo. Do you know who that might be, Steph?
I don't know, but I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Shot deep. Will it come back? Colicchio, the foot drag was on the chalk. He's wondering about it, but my opinion says he was out for sure.
Yeah, I think
he's agreed and sent it back to Nullacht. Close, but no cigar.
I think he maybe could have waited a little bit longer. He had more time before the defender was closing. And yeah, it's definitely on the tape. But because of where it was, and because when he touched it, he was out of bounds, the disc coming out further down the field.
Indeed, that hurts. And you're also, I think you had that well assessed, that had he waited, I think he thought the defender was closer to his hip but he may well have, taken one more stride upfield rather than chasing out towards the sideline and maybe weighted that one back in. But
it's a lot easier for me to say, of course, because when you're going full pelt, it's really difficult to change your angle.
Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda, still is a maybe. Leading throw, Voigt goes up and takes with two hands, sights and shoots. The space was there, the throw was not.
That style of cut that got Voigt the disc has been a little bit of a pattern developing from Nullacht in this game, where if the dump defenders turned around a little bit, they will just utilize the face mark and lead the reset handler into space. So they're catching it looking downfield, they're seeing things develop in front of them as Lewis slips on his end zone line and Nullacht take the simple Swedish for the score.
Wow, that happened very quickly, Benji, but take the simple stuff when they're going to give them away like that. And that's a nice bit of luck going the way of Nullacht there.
The thing almost happened in slow motion there for Reading, where they saw what was happening. They just couldn't quite stop themselves. Oh, he's fallen over. I shouldn't release it, but I can't stop. No. And then the simple for Nullacht to break and open up a 2-point advantage. There is 4 mixed games going on at the moment, of course. Behind us on the UltiTV single cam coverage, we have Lemmings taking an 8-6 halftime lead on the Penguins, Manchot from Le Mans in France. Dimi Doroshenko on the remote microphone for that one. In Pool A, Deep Space, the reigning European champions, have a 9-6 lead on Tartu Turbulence. That's a VO cam stream. Merit Traps dialing in for that one. And Seskidistus, I'll put my teeth back in, and Disconnection are knotted at 9s. There's no commentary for that one, and that's on one of the VO streams as well, and all of those are available to watch with your EUCS season pass here on Solid Sport.
Hoagie zaps it right away. Wilson underneath, and looks like he had an overambitious leap. I was going to say, looks like he's got it, but went up just a bit early.
He should have got it. He should have had it, certainly. And he's very springy. He really can climb the ladder. He just macks it round the corner. That's disappointing for Wilson. Maybe he just felt the defender was a little close and I have to go up early for this one. But he had time and he had space, and he should be reeling that one in. And I think he probably knows it.
Yeah, I'd say he certainly knows it. Wilson, too good of a player to not recognize that he missed within his range there, but Nullacht now, and Reading in a tough position. Down called. Hogan was certain of it. I agree with him, and turnover is called.
I'd have to look at it again, but the fact that everyone on the field seems happy with it, I think tells you the truth.
Hogan inside, finds Wilson. That connection does score, not on their first try.
Yeah, making amends. That's exactly what you want to do, showing the faith, showing the confidence that it doesn't matter whether you can make the play the first time. We're going to keep coming back to you because we trust you. We know who you are. And we know that you are more than capable of making this play.
Play made. 7-8 Reading down, but not out. Hoagie on the board there. If you're not following Send It, or even his Instagram account, it's Hoagie, and you're a fan and enjoyer of everything Ultimate, you should most certainly be watching and dialing in and following and subscribing to what Hoagie does there. So Nullacht. Ooh, throw behind opportunity for Reading. Lewis will pick up. Colicchio gives the up line, but it was well defended, mostly by the mark. Then a zipper up to Powell. That one had a lot of spin. Powell leads to Lewis, and he puts the foot down, puts out the airplane arms, and Reading get a break.
That's the thing with Reading. We've seen them do it time and time again over the years, that if you give them an opportunity, they will not go down easily. They will find ways to get themselves back into games, and that's what good teams do, Steph.
Yep, and they are a good team. Not the first time they've been down, not the first time they've insisted to not be out. And now they are right back in it, tied up. A couple of snowmen on the board bench. We won't go into the old bingo terminology.
We will not. We mentioned that this is the first time we're seeing Reading this season. For Nullacht, they were at the spring invite in Malmö in Sweden, which I think will have a lot more, with all due respect to the spring invite, will have a lot more attention this weekend, Malmö, because of course it's the host city for Eurovision this weekend.
Let's go.
Which I know how much you love Eurovision, Steph, so I'm sure we'll be watching that tomorrow.
You know me so well, Benji. All I can say is no comment on it, because I have
Just enjoy the chaos, Steph.
Yes, exactly. Enjoy the chaos. Upfield hits. And Schulte spots the end zone. Hermiking takes it off the cheek. Was there a Mac before it got there, or was it just mishandled? It came in hot any which way. May well have been a small touch there. Fingertip, perhaps.
Yeah, Hagen, even if she didn't get a touch, she certainly did enough to make it a tough catch, and it was really speared in to Hermiking. Feel for her a little bit because it's such a tough play to make.
Connor Hogan sights and hits. Kemp goes back to Hogan. Hogan goes big. Greer on the chase. That one's going to count. Another break on the board, and Reading are heating up, Benji.
Yeah, 3 on the spin now for Reading. Put themselves back on top, their first lead since they led 3-2. And when you give a thrower like Hogan an inch, he'll take a mile. He'll throw it a mile, and they've got such athleticism downfield, whether it's players like Wilson or Greer or Colicchio on the male matching side. You've got players like Lester on the female side, you know, like a Hagen. You've got a lot of ammunition, a lot of weaponry you can use to attack that deep space. And when you've got players, you can put it deep with touch, so that as a receiver, you're not having to sky defenders. You know, you're already in position. You can catch it in stride. That's the dream right there, Steph.
Living that dream. Our Reading right now starting to feel it, starting to find themselves with this run of breaks to take the lead and to really put a stamp on the second half after giving up a first break against. So the pull drags in. And Nullacht pick up, and they're at the midfield just about already. Behrens finds a nice seam under the inside. Ostertag. Schaefer. And Ostertag gets it through Vedden. Behrens. Ooh, just over top. Lou had the hand up. Hammer. And it's on point for the goal. Nice shot there as Schaefer cashes in for Nullacht.
You've given up 3 on the spin. You don't want to just have this one spiral out of control, and the hammer spirals perfectly into the bucket there. Nullacht, when they have had those runs against them, they've been able to steady themselves, take a breath, get back to work, and that's, I think, says a lot about a team that still has a lot of ultimate ahead of them at this level. You mentioned that this is their first time at the Elite Invite, and they are not looking out of place.
(9-9), 55 minutes into the game. Have a look at those beautiful fields.
They're great, aren't they?
Oh, it's like sponge.
I've heard, you're not the first person I've heard say that, Steph.
It is so soft, like a brand new pair of shoes. I mean, a brand new pair of like new style spongy shoes. I could only imagine the combination of brand new shoes on this pitch. You'd be walking on a cloud.
Brand new Toko cleats, maybe?
Oh my God.
I'm not even sponsored by Toko.
Soon to be though, Benji.
I just think Robin's a nice guy.
Oh yeah, and he makes wonderful footwear. Lou sends deep, hanging, and banging into the hands of Big Now. Another goal for Reading. Quick response there. The ladies connect.
It's what gives you a lot of confidence as a team when players who are maybe a little less heralded are they're out there making plays, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful or dismissive of players like Lou and Bignor, who I both think are really good, solid players. Jessie Lou's on the younger side, played GB Women's Under 24 in Nottingham last year. She's come through with Lemmings as well. Also played a little bit in Denmark with the Copenhagen Hawks, and Bignor's been around the block certainly a little bit longer than Lou has, but great to see her back out there demonstrating, exactly what she's all about, because for a lot of players, you take a break, you start a family, it can be difficult to kind of get that intensity and that fire back sometimes. I say this as if I know it from experience, which I patently do not, but I think you get the gist right.
Indeed we do. Get that gist, Benji, always when it's delivered so eloquently. So Nullacht, bring it to the brick mark. And deep shot goes straight away. Schreiber wastes no time. Gets the connection he was after. Schenk on the doorstep. Gets the mark to bite, and Schenk throws the easy one to Camfort after the mark went missing.
Pepperhover earlier in the game was very good at selling out on the mark and getting it right, but this time Schenk, just with a little sleight of hand, shields it from Kemp, who bites, and then that's an easy flip into the end zone, really, for the score to Grefa. Opened up, really, with the deep shot, though, to Schenk, and I thought a little bit that he'd actually misread it, got himself too far underneath it, but he was continually able to track it, pluck it away, and then, yes, the pump fake really sells the mark, and if you can get that snap, that purpose in your fake, that you do get the marks off balance, you get them biting, you just create yourself so many more open windows to attack more dangerous spaces on the field. I've just seen CJ Colicchio put in like a little nose ring.
A nasal respirator, nasal inhibitor, or not sure what it is, but a rubber nose ring.
Designed, I guess, to open the airways a little bit more and help improve your breathing.
Yeah, I would have to imagine it's not just stylistic. But maybe it is.
Maybe it is, who knows? Can't think of many like really top athletes with proper nose rings, like Bull style. Except maybe Alvin Kamara, the New Orleans Saints running back. Yeah, he's got one of those.
There's a few that take him out to play too.
Certainly, I think I'd probably take it, even if I did wear one, I'd probably take it out when I was playing.
Indeed. Greer. With nice, hard, strong hands by Lester. Lou was looking straight back to Lester and does go to Lester. Might be picked off, but happily picked off when it's somebody else wearing the same uniform. Luka Nedic takes the goal. Could have gone to either receiver.
I'm pretty sure that Lester was the target, but the edge just took it ever so slightly away from her. And Nedic there has position, and if it's there for you to catch, you catch it, right? Unless you've got that clear communication that someone's in a better position, why take the risk? And I think Leicester was more than happy to watch Nedic collect it and put Reading back on top. They are just able to keep their distance now, having established that lead over Nullacht, but they haven't quite pulled away from them.
Now, they have not put this one away yet. they're in, as you say, very, very good stead. But enough time for Nullacht to make a game of this. They've had runs, they've had isolated breaks, they have proven to be able to do that which is necessary to get back in a game and to overturn leads. So Nullacht will bring it in from the far sideline. Puts one over top of the shoulder. Whedon. Ooh, the hand slap there. Whedon now leads. Schenk with the grab. Schenk goes deep. Sighted Kemp in front, but it floats just well enough. That was an excellently weighted disc to get there.
I don't think Kemp was the original defender, but she read it well and sagged off to get into that space and try and muddy things up a little bit. But the edge takes it over her head and away, and that's testament to the throw there that Kampfer, because the throw is leading her towards the break side, it's always tailing away from the defender, who of course is positioned on that open side, and does not give her a huge amount of opportunity to get a hand in there. She tried her best, she put the pressure on, but it just wasn't enough.
Timeout on the field. We're going to take a quick one too, and we'll be right back with more action. Reading Nullacht knotted at 11. Back at it, Benji. Spring invite, what was Nullacht doing?
So they were up in Malmö in Sweden. They finished 3-3 on the weekend. A couple of big wins. They beat Wiener Mischung from Vienna, of course. 15-2, a 15-7 win over Savage from Poland, and 11-4 over Denmark's DTU. And even the games that they couldn't come out on the winning side, they played their opponents mighty close. 15-12 loss to Sky this from Warszawa, so Warsaw. And 2 Universe point losses, 12-11 to Pelt even, and the home side Malmö.
Wow. And greatest attempt, and made good! Andy Lewis bails out the Sam Wilson greatest. What a display of athleticism back in the hands of Lewis.
I could see Wilson had a little fist pump when he saw that Lewis was bringing it in, and why not?
Back me up, my boy, back me up. That is the ultimate in backing one up.
That's why they call it the greatest.
Hogan goes to Wilson. Wilson mounting stall count. Who really floats it up, but gets what he's after. Kemp gets there. Hogan trying to dance, gets enough room. Connor Hogan. Backhands forward. Andy Lewis. Hogan wanted it back, but the throw well marked. Then gets Wilson, and those two get to connect. I bet you we're going to have another look at that greatest, Benji.
I would like to see it, Steph.
But, I mean, nice finish. I mean, that's one of those points, you just got to finish it to make that greatest.
Exactly.
A bit more validated.
I think maybe they were feeling that a little bit more the end zone, where they didn't want to force things because we're in a point where we shouldn't have been, so we are not going to let it slip. Oh, that is perfect. Perfection.
And the layout grab on it too, so good.
Yeah, and just firstly, the presence of mind for Wilson to know that I'm going to have to go for the greatest here. The little wrist snap with the chicken wing over the head and then just going away from Lewis, and he catches it and then turns his hand to not ground strip himself. Yeah, brilliantly done. Cannot say enough about the wherewithal and intelligence from both players to know that that was a potential option and be ready for it. And who else but Lewis to Wilson to link up for the score as well? Seems only fitting.
Only fitting. You're talking about their intelligence. Talking before the game, Lewis, what he knows about Nullacht, and he's I've done a lot of homework actually. We've seen a lot. He was talking about
nerd.
And he was happy to admit it actually.
Yeah, I don't mean that as a. Okay, it was a slight jab, but I think which I appreciate is rich coming from me, right? But it shows that, you know, more and more there's more footage out there. You can have a look at teams, you can study them a bit more, you can game plan, you can match up plan, you can look at little quirks on foibles that they might throw at you, and it means that any advantage you can give yourself, why would you not do it if you can?
Big high take by Schenk. And the leading throw. Kintrup gets another. To Campfoot. Wenham, big lead, and the layout won't make it. Too far in front. Reading get a big late game chance to break.
Schenk's been pretty much magnetized to every disc that's come in his area this game, but for once it escaped him.
Good stutter step there to open up underneath. Kemp goes to Colicchio. Floats one over to Lester, and then the big gainer, Correa, takes away the space. Lester. Backhands around to Hutchinson. Watch out for that forehand. He is not shy with it. Why would you when you've got a laser attached to your hip like that?
That's the advantage of having such a powerful lefty thrower like Hutchison, is it's changing the angles of your offense downfield, because a backhand, if you're going down that line for a righty, you're telegraphing it a little bit maybe. There's the bigger wind-up, you pivot out wide, whereas with the lefty, you're catching it and bang, you can get the quick release out with that power downfield, and maybe a little bit easier to get the edge right on it as well. And Correa must have just been, I mean, absolutely beaming as he streaked downfield, because when the throw's delivered like that, I'd have a big old cheesy grin as well, I think, Steph.
Yep.
Yeah, he's pleased as punch.
Hutchinson just, I said at the front on his first touch, an expansive thrower. He is a wonderful thrower to watch go to work. That one came out. I knew it was going to happen, I swear. But as it went over, like, you see him establishing that power position, the lateral pass going towards the sideline. He had a clear sight of Correa going deep, and it was automatic, instantaneous, automatic, fired out and turned into a goal. Nullacht. Hermiking. Gets the under to Wade. Leading throw. Caught safely by Kintrup.
That was so softly thrown, a lovely, just an inviting cold pillow.
Ooh, a tight one there. Camford puts it forward. Vaden. Back and forth with Schulte. Wide around throw, connects. Schultz had some space on the opposite side of the field, but has opted not. Then hangs one up. That's dangerous, and they pay for it.
You just see it hanging and pop. When you invite that much traffic underneath it, you make it so hard for your offense. And Reading have got, you know, athletes downfield who can punish those little bits of swill that you might give them occasionally.
Here come Reading the other way, looking to break again. Kemp. Ooh, but the change of direction messes with the situation.
A miscommunication with Hagen there. And I think because the spacing of Reading's offense was the reason why they didn't, in the end, want the throw to go, but Schultz more than happy to take advantage, and it hangs again, but this time Schultz gets it.
Hangs to the right hand, and they do get away with the hold. Reading had a pretty nice opportunity, but couldn't get out of their own end. Floundered early in the possession, and there you see Schultz again as that one gets over top of the defense.
Yeah, as Nedic was going up for it, I think he knew that he was out of position, and it wasn't a full-hearted, full throttle attempt. Nor that Nullacht necessarily mind. Good placement on the throw. Still keeping this one tight. Reading, of course, in the driving seat, receiving with a little bit of an advantage. 1 point now, they punch it in, it'll be 2, and they'll get themselves 3 game points. But we've seen Nullacht put together 3-point runs in this game, and now would be a mighty fine time to get another.
Schulte, the goal scorer. Time will likely not change too much of the face of this game. It's very likely we'll be playing to 15, but not entirely secured yet.
One of the games on the VO fields has already wrapped up, by the way. Saskadistas 15-11 victors over disconnection.
Okay. Seski. It could be real this year. Playing without Potsokolski. He's sick this weekend. Over top of how many hands? I can't believe they've got away with that one. Powell to Colicchio, quick rip, Karia with the goal, and now they're one away. We're playing a 15 bench.
Kari is rapid, isn't he? He really does cover the grass well, making the step up to the big time this year. He's been in the system a little bit. I think he was one of those players who was also at Tom's tourney last weekend, capturing the Div 2 title. He's come out of the Durham University system there. I know they've kind of they do inter-college play there, and they've got like a full university club as well. And then played a little bit with Nemesis in the mixed division and with Cambridge, and then come down to play Reading Open last year, and now playing Reading Mixed. And he said, it really excited to break into European Ultimate. He's breaking in there pretty well, I think I'd say. A couple of really impressive turns from the fleet-footed Karia. Been very impressed with Reading's game, considering that, they're not at full strength this weekend. We said it before, but we'll say it again. Imi Wong, I think, is coming in later today. Hannah Brew's going to be in tomorrow, which is a great addition. Fee Ray as well. Emma Klima's back working in the UK, so is Becky Thompson. Joe Brown's at home with a little baby boy as well. So congratulations, Joe. But Reading seem to be getting on okay without them, I think I'd say.
Seem to be doing all right. Schultz sends deep, but the defense comes. Wilson knocks it away, bench.
Boop. Wilson just reading that one all the way, put the air underneath it, and his eyes lit up as he could accelerate towards it. A swat out of the far sideline, and Reading now have the disc with a chance to win.
Hogan takes the inside look. It's Nedic, and the continuation. Lester from the sideline. Ooh, low, but Hoagie goes low and picks it up with the left hand, then hangs it up. Nedic, best read there. Floats one forward, and Lou will seal the deal. Nice hard spike out of her. 15-12. Reading take the game over Nullacht in the first round here at Elite Invite?
I think Reading's just quality and experience at this level coming to the fore a little bit as the game went on. They took a big lead, and Nullacht deserve a lot of credit for, they dug themselves that early hole, giving up a couple of early breaks, earned them back and took half on serve and actually broke to begin the second half, but that seemed to really kick Reading into gear, in all honesty. After they got broken to start the second half, they turned it over twice for the remainder of the game, Reading, and that is that's tough to argue against. That quality and that strength in depth will come back to bite you if you can't get on top and establish your dominance. But hey, no shame there for Nullacht, because we've seen Reading do it time and time again at this level. It's Nullacht's first Elite Invite, and you've still got 2 more pool games, and they can take a lot from this. And you can put that into future games this weekend. And the format, 2 pools of 4, everyone goes through to a quarterfinal anyway. So you've still very much got a chance to seal a wild card spot this weekend. The other game in this pool, by the way, on the field behind us with the single Ulti TV coverage. Lemmings up 11-9 on Manshore. We've got Dimi Dodoshenko on the call for that one. We mentioned that Seski Disconnection wrapped up 15-11. The Tartu Turbulence versus Deep Space game, the reigning European champions Deep Space have a 14-12 lead with Merit Trap on the call for that one for you.
Wonderful stuff as always. Benji Reese, thanks for the comprehensive updates. It's been a wonderful game here. Reading get that win as mentioned. We will be taking a short break in production here on Field 2 from Elite Invite, but we'll be back for more action all weekend long. And on those other fields, there is no break. It keeps going. But from Field 2, we will be back with Jet Set Wall City at 3:20. And on Field 1, Gentle Clapham at the same hour. So make sure you're back for that. For Benji Reese, I've been Stefan Rapazzo. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.